am I doing? Oh my god. This is so annoying. Just Windows in multi-monitor is so annoying. That's all I can say. All right. Oh, well, this isn't stupid because so when I run the game, it's coming up on the other monitor, which means you guys can't see it. Let me see if I bring it over here. Make sure that's showing up on OBS. Yeah. So if I close it and restart it, will it? No. It's always on this monitor. Well, this is bad for streaming, but I don't know what else to do. I mean, I can just Windows try to set the primary monitor. We'll see if that breaks the stream. It may well break the stream. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, looks like OBS is still working. Okay. Okay. Have I been using my presentation software to give presentations at all? Yes, I gave a presentation that was over an hour at the company a few weeks ago. It was like 50 to 60 slides. It was good. I enjoyed it much more, even in the very primitive state that software is in. I enjoyed making that presentation tremendously more than I enjoy trying to use PowerPoint. Oh, I forgot Handmade Heroes right now. That's just what happens sometimes, man. Multi-stream. I look tired. I was playing PUBG late at night, and then I just got up, so that's probably what's going on. So what's going on right now is when I push this block, you're going to see it looks really stupid and slow. Like I go into the block because the block accelerates really slowly. The problem is it is supposed to happen that when one character pushes something else, that they get set up, they get syncs. Like there's several parameters that control the motion from square to square. There's like how long the motion takes. And then there's how long the acceleration takes to go from no acceleration to full speed. And these sort of define the character of motion. And they're not really tuned yet, so they don't look great, but they need to match is the point. So I have a very low default on objects. And so if this system were working, when I push this block, even though the default is way too slow, the block should match the character's speed. And that doesn't work. So that's what I'm going to debug right now. And then the other thing is undo is messed up because it like if I push a block by one, that's recorded as two separate things for some reason. So like I can undo the block and then undo myself. That didn't used to be a problem, but I changed the way the game works and now it's a problem. Pulling is exactly the same as pushing, except I haven't even set up this sync yet, so it would have the same, it would have exactly the same problem. So I'm just going to look very quickly before I start tossing up debugging information. Well, first let me close all these stupid windows if I'm going to alt-tab around a lot. Whoops. Whoops. Windows. Windows. Close that. Close that. All right. All right. So I refer to this variable in 3 files. So there's an entity manager, and the only thing that happens here is it's defined. So this is just, there's a field called visual interpolation on an entity, which is like what says how it's moving right now and how we're going to update it. Right, so that, that's the entity manager one. In Sokoban, I do 2 things. One is, so I'm just going to delete this to simplify. So when I push things, I set the sync ID. Now there are multiple times when pushes are collected, so I'm just gonna print debug. I'm gonna say print set sync ID of to whatever it.entity ID it.visual interpolation.sync ID, right? So that's where I set it. And here, for example, when I get how long it takes something to accelerate, which is that number that I set really low, we're supposed to check the sync ID. We look for another guy, and then we return the acceleration duration for that other guy. So the problem is probably that this gets reset between when we set it and when we get here, or that we just don't set it. So that's those 2. And then let's go to simulate. So there's this clear syncs. Maybe I just want to... So here, if something is synced, I copy over the entire visual interpolation. So maybe I just put that acceleration time in that field rather than just having that screwed up thing. And then I set the sync ID to 0. Oh, right. It would be cleaner. So I know the problem. I can take out that print debug because I clear it right here. So what the sync ID is really being used for, I forgot this when I went last night to do a little bit. What the sync ID is being used for, it's like a one-time latch. It's like you set it, and that says, hey, copy my motion parameters off this other guy. But then it gets cleared. So yeah, I'm gonna use it that way. Is the enjoyment much more aspect true with regard to Sokoban? Is there any big element missing with the development flow that you miss having with an IDE in C++? Not really. I mean, it's way better than C++ in most dimensions. The one thing is that we don't have super good debugger integration right now, so it's a little bit more annoying to run the debugger on it. And the information you get from the debugger is a little bit not as good, but I think that in the long term is fine. I really look that tired today. Wow, maybe I should have given myself an extra 10 minutes to wake up. Mouse is displaced on the stream. Well, I just can't use it to point at things then, I guess. Let me see what it looks like. Yeah, it's way off. I don't know, guys. It's Windows. I don't know what to tell you. Is it in the right place? Yeah, it's in the right place for me. I can click in the right places. Well, I just can't use the mouse to point at things. That's where we're at. Okay. Well, let's put, instead of saying get acceleration duration, we're going to put this on the sync ID. Okay. So okay. So here, like, we're getting this, if you guys saw the streams with the whole animation graph stuff, the acceleration time is set in the graph. So we're going to say whoops, this is in C++. Okay, so interp dot so now in that get what the hell was it called? Get acceleration duration. We're just going to say duration is e.visual interpolation dot accel time. And you know what, let's give it a reasonable default, because 1.0 is a long time. Well, no, because we're testing, right? Oh. Why did I say that? Hey, look at that. Look, he actually pushes the block and the block goes with him. It's almost like he's pushing the block. Whoa, and the undo works. Oh no, it doesn't totally. I'll have to debug that. So now, because they retire on the same frame, we get an undo of both the entities. But then I just hit the key again and it undid nothing, right? So I need to figure out why that's happening. JSON in a JSON file. Okay, well, that's a good thing. Oh, let me take out that print that we never needed. No, we got to do pulling also. So for pulling, all I have to do is set the sync ID, right? So here we say, are we pulling something? And then we move it, and then there. So pull, look at that. All right. Take out the stupid print at the beginning. This was like for some language test that we did. Oh yeah. All right. Fix sync ID for Excel time. Okay. This is good beans. Now, what did I say we were going to do now? I think this is a sign I need a little caffeine in the morning. So let me get that started. So definitely there's lots of stuff I can go and do, but there was a smaller thing that I even said like 4 minutes ago. Oh, the undo thing. Yeah. Undo thing needs to be fixed. How do you undo? Is it like a stack of positions? Well, we can go look because that's about what I'm about to debug. So basically, there's these records of what happens, right? So, and for every change in the world, there's one of these. So like maybe an entity moved, or maybe its other properties changed, or maybe it got changed or destroyed, or maybe there's an ocean change because there's water levels, and ocean maps are basically a big grid of states, and it would be very wasteful to have one of these for every state. So for like the big ocean grids, we have a special type that's like a more packed information. So we say what kind of action it was, what the entity ID was, and then data. So this is like a union of data. This is my messy version of unions right now. So if it's a move, then this is active, otherwise a change, otherwise an ocean change, otherwise a creation or destruction. And so we just have memory here for all those things. So that's the data layout, right? And then, you know, if it was a move, we store the old move position and then the new position. So basically, a move is essentially any change of entity data that's on the base entity struct, right? So that's stuff like position, rotation, all that. Entity change is for derived data, so that's different for every subtype. And then, of course, ocean change is its own thing. Creation or destruction just says, you know. So there's these fields. And these fields need to give you enough information to do a bidirectional thing. So you need to be able to do undos forward or backward. So, you know, an entity move stores both the old and the new data and so forth. So that if you're undoing, you use the old data. And if you're redoing, you use the new data. And if I want to get really picky, I could make these variable length and like store the subfields and stuff, but I don't do that right now. I don't do it. Ocean change is it's various properties of water. So like flow direction, maybe, things like that. Well, welcome to the stream. Okay, I got to remember not to oversteep my tea. You have a manager with a bunch of these undos. Yeah, so this thing here called undo handler. Basically, every frame, stuff gets piled up into pending actions, right? And then at the end of the, so if a bunch of things move in one frame, they all get collected in here. And then at the end of the frame, we say, hey, make an undo record out of all those, right? Where an undo record, where is it? An undo record is basically an array of those. And then, you know, whether or not it's a major checkpoint. So maybe you want to rewind to a major checkpoint as opposed to just like one turn and stuff. So, yeah. And that's it. That's all the data structure is used for undo right now. Now the problem, of course, is that whatever the routine is called that flushes from pending actions and makes an undo record is getting called like twice instead of once. And so I need to figure out why that's happening. Right, so when we're scanning one entity for changes, we just check to see like if its undoable data has changed. If so, we add that. And if its derived data is changed, we add that. So, okay, undo end frame. We scan for all the entities. This is we make an undo record. Why would scan for changed entities? Yeah, there's probably something weird there. Because even if we called this an extra time, it should, in principle, not do anything bad. Unless, well, yeah, I don't know. Okay. So undo end frame, I believe, is only called from somewhere. It should be only called for one place outside this file. Or in the editor, I guess. Oh boy. Well, let's figure out why this is called from so many places. All right, that's a special case. That's a special case. That's commented out. This is questionable, but it's not what's happening right now. Okay, so I believe, so one of the things how this game used to work is, it used to be that when you decide to move, it's a grid-based game, right? So when you decided to move one square, it used to do the actual physical move immediately, and then the visual interpolation would lag, right? So like, then any gameplay consequences of you landing on the new square would essentially happen immediately, a little bit before it should, right? And so I believe I changed that. It's been like a month since I worked on this, or 2 months actually. So I believe I changed it so that we don't do the physical motion until you cross a certain threshold of of having been moved. So what I am guessing is happening is because there's two things moving and they both don't have sync IDs, because remember we reset the sync ID, then they're not, oh, am I oversteeped already? Damn it. Damn it. How'd that happen? I have to make a whole new teeth. Hold on. That was like 2 minutes. So I presume that this is happening on 2 subsequent frames or something like that. Because if these entities are out of order in the entity list, yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make an extra flag for I'm going to probably for debugging as well want to know I'm going to want to know what somebody's sync ID was so that later in the frame I can like debug it and look back. So that's going to be useful anyway. So I'm going to say if v.had sync ID no, not had sync ID. Well, I don't know. I don't know, man. Quick unrelated question about place. Is it legal to write struct using foo, place foo.bar? I don't actually remember. I haven't thought of place as a long-term thing. I'm probably going to do, something more formal. So I don't think about place particularly much right now. That's all I'm saying. It's just in there until we do something different. But it's not worth doing something better yet because there's much more important things to do. Yes. All right. Yeah, autofocus. Yeah. Whatever, man. Okay. Well, at least the autofocus can't mess up the text in the editor window. So I need to decide. This is one of those things where the problem is not at all typing the code. It's just deciding what should happen, right? And making a decision that's robust and is going to work in the future. So I've got a guy, he's moving around. He pushes something and they move in sync. But I want to fire one undo. Okay, what it really needs to be is I need to mark guys who are initiators of movement. Or no. I already have a notion of, so I need to look, I have a notion of, well, let me just show you. If I hold the key, I'm running at like a constant pace here, right? But, well, and then for some reason I run too long. We can fix that later. I think, I'm not sure why that happens. Like, as far as I know, that should only buffer up like one thing, but it's buffering multiple. So that'll be after we fix undo, as we fix this. All right, but if I slam the key many times, we go into like Benny Hill fast forward mode. Right, and the way we do that is, you know, we have a notion of how much stuff is queued on the active entity, right? So basically, I want to look at that and say, okay, I want to say, okay, let me just refresh myself about how that works, because that's going to be important. So enact next buffered move. Oh, it's right here. That's good, because we probably want these to be the same thing. You know, we should just do this. I feel like this is just what it should be. I mean, that's a little off the cuff. Oh, what did I? I mean, I guess we'll leave that in for a second, even though we're not using it now. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, yeah. No. This is the wrong check. I put right there, I'm not sure, it's just a safety valve, etc. That's not the real enact next. Buffered move. Who's the real? What? Oh, the clear sinks is the thing that the comment is about. All right. Could I move my live camera view to the other side of the screen? Why? I usually edit things on the right. I mean, I could put it on the top. That's probably better. Uh-oh, did I oversteep again? Not as bad, okay. It's a little bit. Have I been inspired by Steven's sausage roll? Not really, this is different. I mean, Steven's sausage roll is a really great game, for sure, but that's not what is going on here. It is not. So there's like a weird fundamental problem in the way that I'm doing all this stuff right now, which is that a guy's pushing a block and it's like, okay, we're syncing up the visuals right now approximately, but then that physical motion, which I said is now triggered off the visuals, that physical motion is a little bit decoupled. So if we make the acceleration for the block slightly different than the guy for visual purposes, like maybe he pushes it and then lets go or whatever and it cruises on ahead, they're going to arrive in their target squares at different times right now, and that is not good. That means, well, because that would leave, two different undo states, and or just the gameplay logic would have to account for like weird race conditions about that stuff, and that's not what this game is about. So really, I think I want to look at the initiator, and when the initiator finishes moving, everything that guy initiated, or when the initiator crosses his physically moved threshold, then everything that guy initiated also must physically move. So I need to change. This is a really non-trivial change, and we may not finish it. But I think that is the last thing that's necessary to make this serious. Bottom right for the camera? No, because I edit text on the bottom of the screen all the time. You don't want that. Dude, a Sokoban Royale game would be totally sweet. I don't know why you guys are making fun of that idea. Given how awesome it would be. Okay. Man, this screen is scaring me. Oh my God. If this thing falls over, it's just instant death. It's no good. All right. All right. So every time I call move entity, I'm going to add this initiator argument. The basic move loop in this game is pretty complicated. Okay, put my comma in a better place. So initiator is going to default to false. Okay. And we're just going to set that initiator. Okay, so that's fine. This doesn't do anything yet. I just added a field. So now we're going to restructure some things. So we have this physically moved. And what we do is when we call update physical position, that thing does the actual grid change physical moves of the guys, and that is bad. We really just want this to do the graphical thing, and we want this to do like should physically move. Right, so let's just say should physically move if that okay. Now update visual position. Where is that? That's here. So this does a bunch of stuff. Okay. So everything from here and below is just what I said. It is, it's just returning whether we should finish. So then, okay. So if that returns true, we add this guy to the physically moved entities. And then, I guess the upper right for the camera is better for times when I do this. I don't know. We need a dynamically moving camera. Okay. For all the physically moved entities, no, this is wrong still. So we want to record all the initiators, right? Okay. There we go. Now, for physically moved initiators, of which there will be 0 or 1 almost always, but sometime in the future in the game there might be more than one. Then we make a whole we do all this stuff. And then we undo end frame. Do I have to pass the entity manager there or something? Handler. Any.entity manager.undo handler. Something like that. It's not an HD. All right. Was that real fire in the previous streams? Yes. All right. So for now, we'll just flush everybody. And then we'll make it smarter in a second. So we'll say when a physically moved guy completes, then we do this. We're just going to say moved. Okay. So we're just going to flush everybody right now. Move.allocator for But right now, so if you're an initiator, we just say, do everybody. I don't know, this might be enough. It may not. Oh. Should physically move and initiator and simulate 452. We really want it.initiator. And v.initiator. I declare identifier v. Well, we'll do that again. Well, it's not called it now, is it? Checking argument 1 of call to undo end frame. All right. Maybe, I don't know. That was a little sloppy thinking on my part, so I don't know if it's going to work. Look, it didn't move the guy at all. And then the undo has him at 0. How great is that? Perfect. Wait, now it moves the guy? What? Now it works perfectly. You just have to, so the tutorial of the game is going to be like, okay, when you go into every level, first try to push a block and it won't push, but then undo, and then it'll work. That's the blue hole version of this game. It'll be like, push this button to reset the UI and make the blocks pushable. That's so weird. I just want to see that happen again. So I'm walking. I be walking. Push. Push. He's like not even going into his push animation. Okay, something really weird is happening then. You know what it is? This is my game developer instinct kicking in. You notice how he doesn't even go into the push animation. Here's what I think. I think manager.moving entities. I think this array. I think on the first frame, everything is in this array, probably. But the visual interpolations are, yeah, that's what's happening. Moving entities is different. Yeah, game engines are a little bit complicated. What is my official... What? Where is it? I just... Oh, update visual interpolation, not position. That's going to confuse me. Oh, it was in this routine. Okay, so we check to see if the start time is greater than or equal to 0. Okay. Hey, look, it worked the first time. And then we undo. Okay. We're going to have to fix that animation situation. Whoa, that's weird. Now my guy is sitting there. Okay. Right. When there's a special kind called a cannot go. And we're returning false in that case, and we don't really want to do that. So because I was playing a cannot go, so I'll show you that. So we play a placeholder right now. If you bump into a wall, oh, it's still, it's so weird. Oh, I didn't recompile, did I? No, I did recompile. What am I doing? What am I doing? Anyway, when you can't go into a wall, right now we probably should make an actual animation for it, but right now we just make a little visual interpolation that bumps the guy forward and back. And I'm going to put that on the list to talk to the animator about. Because that's just a stupid complexity that we don't need. We should just play an animation. Okay. Until that goes in, though. Oh, you know what? Let's just take that out of the game. Because, like I said, we don't need that complexity, and we'll have a drop in visual feedback to the player for a little bit. But that's fine, because we're going to do animations for it anyway. This was only ever a stopgap. Sometimes, like, look at all this weird code I'm taking out. Let me take it out of here. All right. Well, while we're just commenting for now. So All right. So now it shouldn't lock me up. Anyway, it used to just like bump me into the wall if I try to walk into the wall while I'm standing there. Man, I totally messed up the animation in this change. I need to figure out why. Oh, it's because I'm resetting the animation at the wrong time. All right. It's mostly better though. I can't check this in though, or the animator will get really annoyed, so we have to fix that. So basically, when we move into a square now, we basically have to know okay, this is all out of order. Because we're resetting the visual interpolation here. Yeah. We're doing this in a totally different order. Okay. Okay, when we finish an initiator, we put all these guys in this moved array, and then we're going to do 2 passes over the moved array. We're gonna update the physical positions, because this is like a transaction. Okay. That's a transaction that we want. We want that to be logically grouped. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to animate guys, right? So the goal of this is to prevent that animation screw up that you just saw. Because it's like you want to know if we buffered another move for the guy and he's moving again, then you don't want to animate him back to one of these base animations, right? Of active or whatever. Because you might just want him to keep running. So that's that. Okay. Now I just want to think about this. Well, oh, by the way, if things are caused by timed event, those are also initiators. We need to set that. Caused by timed event. Really? Nobody sets that ever. That's interesting. Okay. You know, I'm just going to take this out for now. And I'll put it back in if it solves a problem that is current and that I understand. Whoa, whoa! Okay, we're doing things in the wrong order a little bit. Of course, now it works perfectly. Okay, that was a little weird. So the first undo didn't do anything. Okay, wait. Restart. Okay, so we're going to go... Okay, undo, 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 undo. I don't know, I felt like that first time the block ended up in a weird place, but maybe not. All the undos seem okay. Okay, let's take stock of what's happening. So first of all, when he runs now, his animation is no longer breaking. So that part worked. Wait, now I can't... okay, wait. This have incomplete untimed animation thing. Oh, right, okay. Yes, I definitely need this. So this enact next buffered move is only going to happen when we have a completed physically moved initiator, right? So if an animation or a move, yeah, I need this. I need that. I get it. I get why it's there. Yeah, so now I don't get stuck. I don't understand why my animation is so skippy like that. Oh, maybe I do. Let's, whoops. Let's go into slow-mo. What's my hotkey for animation HUD? No, not that. There we go. There we go. I forget my hotkeys. Oh. Oh. Hold on. What does my key map say? Debug mode animation F9, shift F9, control F9. All right. F9, control F9. All right. So I can put it in, whoops. How's my slow motion? Comma and period. That's different from in previous games, which is why I'm confused. All right, so we are in slow motion. All right, let's go in fast motion. Okay, wait, my key buffering is broken. That's bananas. So that has to get fixed. Forget any of this debug HUD stuff. Like I'm pressing twice. Okay, I feel like it's enacting the move before. I'm going to set this just in case. Okay, so okay, yeah, so Wait, now it's working. So like I'm tapping the key and he's moving that many squares, which is exactly how this is supposed to work. So if I slow down time, it's still working. See that? I'm going to tap 4 times. 2, 3, 4. Boom. So why was it broken a second ago? What did I do? Maybe it's after I push a block. Well, okay, right there was, yeah. That was a weird. It like jumped ahead for some reason. So, under what case is that happening? Okay, that was weird. When I'm facing up, oh, that's where the block is. That's what's happening. So this block is in the wrong visual place. If I go here, and now I go right, it'll push it. Yeah. So something is screwed. I'll tell you that. And it has to do with going multiple. So the first thing we should do, just for safety's sake, is that when we do physically move a thing, because that block seems to be in the right physical position always. Let me see what update physical does. Okay, we need to. Maybe a queued motion doesn't involve the block push. Well, so the queued motions don't know anything about what's happening. The queued motions are only key presses, right? So the game figures out what the key press does at the time when it happens. So really, I mean, what's going on? The problem is in this loop here somewhere. Like, for example, we're updating physical position on a block, seemingly when it hasn't been interpolated to its target, or even on the guy. So here's the thing. Let me show you. So first of all, I feel like the guy is kind of teleporting one square under some conditions. So we can detect that. So I'm just going to print out every time we do a physically moved initiator. I'm going to print out the start and end of his visual interpolation. And the well, I'm going to print out the entity's visual position and the end, and they should be very close. It's getting cold in here. We're gonna do some gas files here. Boom. All right. So we're going to print initiator, whoever, visual, whatever, and whatever, right? So that's going to be his entity ID, any.visual position, any.end, right? So, and any.visual interpolation.end. These two values, these two vectors should be very close. So there you go. He finished in the square. His visual position is 320 and his end is 320, right? So I just want to move him until we get a teleport, which we haven't yet. There, we got one. Okay. 620, 620, 520, 420. See, okay, here. This is the problem. So this guy ended at 620, right? So, I mean, the z coordinate's always going to be 0. So let's just say 62 on this map, yeah. So, and then our next move we started at 5 and our end was 4. Like, first of all, okay, I feel like what's happening is we're stomping the visual interpolation on this guy somehow. So, there's only one visual interpolation slot on an entity. I used to do the queuing by having a list of visual interpolations, but I since did it with keyboard moves because that makes more sense. But in this case, I believe we're setting the target for 520, and then we're overriding it later because we're doing an next buffered move or something. So where the hell is set? Oh, it's add visual interpolation. Add visual interpolation. So I'm going to say if e.visual interpolation dot start time is greater than or equal to 0, print warning entity Let's just see if that fires for everybody. I hope not. No. It didn't fire at all. So that's not the problem. Oh, dude, the problem is that the block is marked as an initiator somehow. Look at this. You got to look at your debugging info. So I'm just moving the same guy around, right? This is his entity ID. That should always be the initiator, but it's not. Look, boom. Who the hell is that? It's the block. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. That wasn't the problem. I'm just going to verify this by saying the following. Initiator. Okay. If v.initiator, we're going to say assert it.entity type is equal to guy. It's true so far. True so far. Ah, we asserted. Assertion failed. It's not a guy. Okay, what the hell? I screwed up my marking things as initiators. That's messed up. It's probably a stupid bug. Okay, we move a guy initiator equals true. Oh! Remember at the start of this stream when we were doing the sync ID copying. Okay, remember that? That whole thing that puts these things in sync? This is going to copy that initiator flag off of the initiator. Which is bad news bears. I should have thought of that. Hey, look. Look, we don't have this problem anymore. So that's good. It's good that I didn't have to do like extensive debugging to think of that. That's really what getting better at debugging is really about. Well, there's several dimensions of it, but one dimension is just knowing what is likely to be the problem. Okay, this is good enough that I can check this in now. And it might be just time for me to go find breakfast somewhere. Although in Seattle, in my neighborhood here, at like noon on a Saturday, good luck finding a place where you don't have to wait for 6 hours to get breakfast. This is a good victory for today. And then I think next stream we start doing some more heavy-duty animation feature stuff. I just wanted to get this working. That's great. Great. Why didn't the guy exit? Oh, our checking for victory is broken. Oh, we can't check this in, right? So if I step on this square, I should win the level, but we're not winning the level. Okay, well, let me take out this printf also. Initiator. So where's my check for victory? I just didn't, I was supposed to put that in this loop. If physically moved initiators dot count check for victory manager. I just deleted that in all this editing that was happening. Oops. All right. All right. Okay. I think that is going to be the end of this stream for now. Next stream, So the reason why we have these, so the whole thing that caused all these problems was we have this animation parameter that controls how much you accelerate into motion. Like you'll notice now when my guy moves, when he starts moving, we need to tune the motion to be a little faster. But when he starts moving, let me write that down. When he starts moving, it might be subtle here, but he doesn't start at maximum speed. It's not just like a linear motion, right? It ramps up into the linear speed. So there's a little bit of acceleration on it. And you can maybe see that more clearly on the block here. But anyway, we want to start varying that. All this work was just so we could do things like, oh, if he pushes a block, we want the block to feel heavier. So instead of just going into the linear speed as fast as he does here, we want more of an acceleration, right? So that's what all this was for. So we'll do that next time. I'm going to write that on this piece of paper. More accel if block. And if he pushes like a row of 4 blocks, maybe that's way more acceleration, right? And so forth. So that's what we're going to do. And then we'll start doing some more work on the animation graph, because there's some features that the animator wants that are not there. Oh, we also need to, this guy's not supposed to go to inactive here all the time. He's supposed to go to active idle. So I need to figure out why that's broken. Because there's, when you have 2 characters, like there's an active and an inactive animation, and so if I'm active, I should stay active, but I'm going into inactive for some reason. So I got to figure that out. That's a tiny one we'll do at the start of next time. There's a kitchen. Look, I have a kitchen, but there's no food in the kitchen. I don't know what you guys are thinking. The kitchen is for storing drinks and chips and chocolate bars and fruit bars. When is next time? I don't know, maybe later today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. We'll see. I mean, it's the weekend. I'm gonna follow my inspirations about when to work on things. All right, everybody. Played any more Opus Magnum? Since when? I mean, if I run Steam, I have 107 hours in Opus Magnum. I think that's a little bit inflated. I think it's more like 80 hours because I think I left the game running for a couple days, or Steam had a bug where it thought it was running. But I think I legit have like 80 hours in this game, and I don't want to totally burn out on it. I a little bit burned out on it because I played too much in too short a time, but I'll come back to it for sure. Got any better scores? Not really. One of the reasons I burned out was I tried for like 12 hours straight to get a better score on one hard problem and didn't do it yet, although I have an idea for how to do it. All right, thanks everybody for stopping by, and we'll stream again sometime soon.